Welcome back, everyone, to the first installment of the 20 Strongest Captain Class Shinigami. Episode 1, Ikkaku Madarame. You'll notice, by the way, I'm not in the corner. I'm not even on the screen. That is due to the fact that I actually felt this was one that deserved to have this. I'm going to try in the future to do more videos without me actually in the corner, because I don't need to be in the corner all the time. Don't even need to be on screen with some of these. But with this series, I think we'll start trying out having me not on screen to use more room up. But yeah, anyway, top 20 strongest Captain Class Shinigami. And this episode starts off with Ikkaku Madarame. Now, first off, I know because I had someone point out that in their opinion, they didn't think some captains should have been Captain Class. Like they didn't think Gin should have been Captain Class and all that. Well, I mean, that's fine, but it doesn't change the fact that he was a captain. And if he had the rank of captain, he had a Shikai and a Bankai, then he had to be included on this list. Or character, and yes, Gin is part of the series, obviously. But in my opinion, also so does Ikkaku. Ikkaku belongs on the list. He has both a Shikai and a Bankai. And when the captains defected, Tozen, Gin, and Aizen, Renji went up to him and said, we need more captains, and someone like you. He thought Ikkaku should have applied to be a captain. Now you can make an argument whether or not that is good judgment on Renji's part, or just him saying, I know you have a Bankai, so try to apply. You can make an argument one way or the other. But in my opinion, Ikkaku is a Captain Class Shinigami. Now, a low Captain Class Shinigami, because he is the one who ranks the weakest among the 20 strongest Captain Class Shinigami. And remember, when using the criteria we're using is the character had to have shown their Shikai and their Bankai, and we had to see a full overall range of their abilities in Shikai and Bankai, as well as whatever else they're capable of. Otherwise, I can't include them. Like Yoruichi, we have never seen her Zanpakuto, therefore I can't include her on this list. Ukitake, we never saw his Bankai, can't include him on the list. So, regardless, Ikkaku is where we start. And obviously, we need to go over Ikkaku a little bit here. Ikkaku, obviously, is a master swordsman, master combatant altogether. His Shikai, Hosekimaru, turns into basically a breakaway, a three-section staff, a three-section spear, if you will. It acts just as a staff to begin with, a staff. Acts just like a spear to begin with. Very useful for mid-range combat, not really long range, but mid-range. It can then turn into the three-section staff to surprise the opponent, because in close quarters combat, it can break away. Nearly took Ichigo's head off when him and Ikkaku originally fought. So it's a very capable weapon in melee combat. It also really reflects Ikkaku's style, being a very go with the flow kind of fighter. His Bankai is nothing more than a giant power tool, going into, still representing the three sections of the staff, really, because there's three different blades. The middle blade, the one in his left hand, the one on his right hand. So it's still very much a capable weapon, absolutely 100%. But it's really just a power tool. It's just a power weapon, and it's unfortunately, it falls short of anything else. It has no abilities, and it starts out slow too if Hosekimaru hasn't woken up. And it lacks any defensive capabilities. Still, in the hands of someone like Ikkaku, who is a very random but go-with-the-flow, fight-for-sport kind of fighter, it's still a pretty solid melee weapon. So the question now becomes, why did Ikkaku rank as the weakest of the 20 strongest Shinigami or Captain Class Shinigami? Well, remember how I said in the announcement videos that the way I do it is I essentially pit all the captains again. If one captain beats an opponent another captain couldn't, that doesn't mean that captain is stronger than that captain. Saying Mayuri is stronger than Kenpachi because he beat Pernida is like saying Nanao is stronger than Shunsui because she beat Lily Vero. Doesn't work that way. You have because certain captains have certain strengths tailored to certain opponents. I had to put them all against each other in basically one-on-one combat, 19 different bouts. Ultimately, how did it break down? Well, let's break it down now, shall we? Let me break it down for you. So, I guess both Ichibei, the head of the Zero Division, and Yamamoto, Ikkaku fails miserably. Shikai-wise, even if he went full Bankai against either of these guys, none of these guys would have to even activate their Shikai ultimately. There's no indication that he has much skill in Shunpo, and even if he does, both Yamamoto and Ichibei completely outclass Ikkaku in any form of speed feats. Despite his experience with the sword, and the fact that he is an exceptional swordsman. He is an exceptional swordsman. These guys have had far too many years worth of experience to even really have a conversation about if you could beat him in swordplay. Even if Ikkaku goes to Shikai, honestly, Ichibei's Zanpakuto is just as long. So it's an easy battle of length and reach there. And unfortunately, Ichimonji has abilities, period. Yeah, Ikkaku's doesn't. At least no ability that would work or be any sort of real issue to Ichibei. At best, he might nick both these guys with a cut on the cheek, and that's at best. Even if he goes Bankai, he still wouldn't be able to match Ichimonji just by having ink sprayed on him. He would lose his name, and therefore he would lose all his power by that omission. Not even mentioning any Kido that Ichibei decides to use. And Yamamoto his flames would just keep Ikkaku at bay. That's without even going into Bankai. So, unfortunately, he lost flat out to both of those guys without any sort of real struggle whatsoever. Coming up again after that would have been Captain Soy. By the way, I'm going in order basically of kind of like divisions. So this isn't really about, this isn't showing off what order these guys are showing up in, obviously. And it also gives you an idea who everyone on the list in this series is going to be. Soifo. Now, Soifo, she beat him straight out in speed alone. She can completely blitz him without any real difficulty whatsoever. Hand-to-hand combat-wise, she completely outclasses him as well. Ikkaku, we really don't see in hand-to-hand combat. We only see him as a swordsman. As a swordsman, he is extremely capable, but he's a weird type of unrefined refine. He has a go-with-the-flow adaptive style, which by most measures would be an unrefined kind of way of fighting, but he's extremely skilled in this type of fighting. Problem is, again, her speed alone would outclass him. She would just two-shot him and kill him right there. So, and even then, by some miracle, if he lived, or if he did not get hit by two-shot, went Bankai, it's so cumbersome that she could, again, just blitz him. Worst case scenario, she went Bankai. His Bankai has no defensive capabilities. It's pure offense. So he'd be defeated. Die? Questionable. You can make an argument maybe he doesn't die because he's the luckiest man in the 11th. But lose, definitely. And then we get to the current captain of the 3rd Division, Rose. Now, this one, I'll admit, I did initially, he lost to Rose. But the more I thought about it, the more like, did he lose? Would he lose to Rose? It's a really good question the more I had to think about it. So, the reason it really comes into question for me is that Rose's abilities won't really work on certain individuals. And here's kind of what I mean by this. Rose's abilities work by manipulation of sound, music, all that kind of stuff. And it's an effective Shikai for what it's worth. We don't see, or effective Zanpakuto for what it's worth. We don't really see what it's fully capable of throughout the series, unfortunately. Like, we know that its abilities in its Shikai, it seems to have multiple abilities. We only ever see one. But that Rose Whip, if you will. Rose Whip! A little Yu Yu Hakusho for you. That Rose, it is an effective weapon. The problem is, the whip, frankly, it might give Ikkaku some problems, definitely. But I think Ikkaku, honestly, would be able to evade it because his staff really isn't that good of a weapon for the whip to maybe latch onto. Because even if he latches onto his spear form can break, which loosens the hold on it and can probably slip out of there. Now, obviously, the whip does have abilities, and if Ikkaku gets hit by him, he's going to be in trouble. Maybe not defeated, but in trouble. So there's There's no real reason that Ikkaku loses Shikai to Shikai. Bankai to Bankai is the problem. Ikkaku, again, it's just a power cutter. It's a power tool. Nowhere near the level of Kenpachi's, but it's a physical weapon. Whereas Kinshara Butadon is a very Kido-based weapon, manipulating sound. And because of the manipulation of sound, the question came to me, would Ikkaku be able to not outmatch or overpower, but would he be able to muscle through the effects of, say, the effects of the Bankai that are affecting his sound? Like, would he be able to just cut through the illusions that were being created? Maybe. And we don't know what happens if the, like, marionettes, if the performers of his Bankai are damaged, if they are just destroyed, or can they reform? We don't know if that's the case. I will say, though, that because of the style that Ikkaku uses, even though Rose leaves himself extremely open and he's pretty arrogant, so even in a one-on-one, not knowing the other's ability type of battle, Rose, I think, still wins, simply because I think Ikkaku would be ultimately overwhelmed. So, yeah, in that fight, I think Rose does take it, but there's a debate to be had about that one. Gin totally beats Ikkaku, because Gin doesn't even have to fight. If he gets in close, Gin, I think, is still the better swordsman, although Ikkaku's randomness might put him off a little bit. We do know that Gin also knows Kido, so there is that to take into consideration. But really, it's just a matter of Shinso attacking from a distance, keeping you at a distance. At any point that Gin goes Bankai, Ikkaku's screwed. Whether or not his Bankai is actually as fast or long as he said, it doesn't really matter. It's still plenty damn fast and plenty damn long. And add the poison factor in there, against an opponent like Ikkaku, it would not work out well for Ikkaku at all. Ikkaku would be pretty destroyed by this guy. Hana. Now, even without going into Shikai or Bankai, Shikai's not a combat Shikai at all. Hana would just lay waste to Ikkaku. If Hana, without ever releasing her Bankai, could take on Kenpachi before he got his Shikai and all that in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, there's no way on earth Ikkaku manages to hold up against her. We're not going to go into what her Bankai does right now, or at least what it's believed it does, and what the information that we have available seems to say it does, because the fight would not even get to that point. Hana would obliterate Ikkaku in a fight. And nothing else from pure swordsmanship, and the fact she knows Shimpo and her Kaido would just heal any wound that Ikkaku does inflict on her. So, yeah, there's that. Shinji was an odd one. I will be the first to admit, Shinji's an odd one, because now that we know what his Bankai does, I can now put him on this list. And the problem is, we can't use his Bankai against any opponent. So we really just got to factor in his skills as a swordsman, his Shikai, all that. But Shinji is an odd one, because Shinji is obviously much higher on this list. But his Zanpakuto is a really effective one, but it's actually really easy to counter if you have the right abilities or techniques. And Ikkaku, you could make an argument, might have that. He might have the ability to kind of counteract just going up pure instinct. Like, spoiler alert, later down the lineup, someone like Kenpachi has literally the battle instincts of a being born for battle. Therefore, he could counteract it with sheer instinct alone. like his body might react one way, after a moment he'll adapt and just react the other way. Ikkaku has a little bit of that, but it's just not to the same level. So, and then all Shinji has to do is really just kind of take care of him, knock him out, take him out, stab him through the heart, whatever, and it's pretty much done. Still, Shinji's an odd one, but ultimately I had to give the win to Shinji in that regard. Renji is another one where you're like, well, wait, he trained Renji. You would think that Renji would be weaker than Ikkaku. And, yeah, when they were in the same division, sure, Renji was weaker than Ikkaku. Ikkaku's the one who helped him gain his Shikai, for God's sake. But it's all about their character and where they wanted to be as individuals in the series. Renji strives to be greater and even surpass Byakuya. admirable goal to be sure, but probably not going to have it, at least not with his realm of abilities. But more importantly, Ikkaku doesn't. Ikkaku just wants to serve under Kenpachi. Now, like, Kenpachi is the guy he admires more than anyone else. And so he just wishes to live and die as Kenpachi's subordinate. So he never really cared about surpassing anyone, really, at all. So even though we know he grows stronger over the series, his rate of growth does continue, he's not someone who is content with getting stronger and surpassing Kenpachi, because he ultimately knows he will never surpass Kenpachi. He's okay with this, because that's not his goal in life. His goal in life is just to serve under Kenpachi and, be part of the greatest division in the Soul Society. So as Renji got a lot stronger and, regained what his real Bankai is and all that, Ikkaku kind of muddles around a little bit. So in terms of swordsmanship, honestly, Renji probably is at least on par, if not better at swordsmanship than Ikkaku, but they have different styles to begin with. His Bankai is also a lot more effective than Ikkaku's because it allows him to get into melee combat and has at least one ability. At the same time, Renji is also probably now, if Byakuya had to step down for some reason, Renji would probably be the one to take over. Because at this point, he probably is, even though he's a lieutenant in terms of rank, he's a captain in terms of his strength. After going to the Soul Reaper's Palace, Soul King's Palace, getting his real name Bankai, him and Rukia both were both captain level opponents of that, combatants at that point. So, and obviously Rukia did end up becoming captain. So Renji's got to take that fight, in my opinion. Sajin, God bless Sajin. I mean, he tries. He really does. But I feel so bad for Sajin, really. I really do. Because he, tries so hard, and he is a captain. It's not like he's weak. But except for Bambietta, where he had to tear his own damn heart out, and basically in his human form, and a fraction of all individuals, he lost every single battle he was in. And we're not talking about the fillers. We're talking about the actual series. He lost every single battle he was in. That said, the problem with his Zanpakuto, his Bankai, is the fact that he takes him and his Bankai share the exact same amount of damage they take, which also makes his Bankai unique, as it's the only Bankai that can be destroyed technically and still be okay, still regenerate because it's so closely tied together. But unfortunately, it is a jarring weakness. That said, it still has defensive capabilities to it. It just takes an individual strong enough to actually damage it, or hurt it to hurt Sajin as well. And I'd argue that Ikkaku in Bankai is strong enough to hurt Sajin Komamura when he's in Bankai and do damage to his Bankai. But the problem here is the keyword of hurt. Not take him down, because the Bankai still moves in tandem with Komamura. And all it's going to take is one giant swipe of that blade to put Ikkaku down, because again, his Bankai lacks any defensive capability. It's just a power tool. So ultimately, yeah, I actually had to give the win to Sajin in that category. Sajin was able to come out on top. Byakuya completely makes mincemeat out of Ikkaku. There's no way in hell Ikkaku could stand up to Byakuya, even without Byakuya even releasing Senbon and Zakura. Byakuya's too fast. He's too skilled. His knowledge of the Kido arts are enough that alone could put Ikkaku down for good. So, yeah, Ikkaku can't stand up to Byakuya at all. Shunsui, pretty much the same kind of opinion here, is that, yeah, Shunsui is an extremely powerful guy. He's too skilled. He wields 2 Zanpakuto, which is rare for anyone in this series to be wielding. So, even Ikkaku using both his scabbard and his blade, Shunsui can match that easy and cut through that scabbard. Not to mention all the abilities that his Shikai actually has, not even going to his Bankai. So he's just got too much experience, too much diversity on his side for Ikkaku to honestly pull out a win against him. Then moving on now into the Squad 9 characters, we have Kensei. And Kensei is a little bit... See, Kensei's another guy similar to Sajin where it's like, damn it, he tries, and damn it, he's a captain, but damn it, he sucks. It's like, he's so, like, you know, by the books and serious, and yet he still ends up losing terribly. His Bankai is actually pretty cool. It's simplistic, but I like it. It's like, you know, it's just explosions come out of his knuckles, then they continue as long as you're in contact with his fist. If you could get someone and you just smack him in from the back and the torso with your fist and just blow their innards up, that'd be great. But unfortunately, Ikkaku could only stand so much. Yeah, I got hit by the lucky knuckle. I can't remember the full bringer who had that, but the guy with the lucky jackpot knuckle, that was what it was called. Jackpot knuckle. But that's not anywhere near the same level of power as, say, Kensei's Bankai is. That said, Ikkaku could probably put up a bit of a fight, but again, Kensei, he's more of a melee fighter as it is, especially given his Bankai. And again, without any defensive capabilities and having no abilities beyond just being a physical attacker type, he would not be able to stand against a Bankai of that power. So unfortunately, he lost to Kensei. He also lost to Shuhei as well. Now, Shuhei, see, I did a video a while back of the top strongest lieutenants. Ikkaku obviously now is a lieutenant by the end of the series, so he qualified for that. And Shuhei is very interesting. Now, toe-to-toe, blade to blade, these guys are probably on par in base form. One's more refined than the other, but the adaptiveness and the randomness of Ikkaku evens that playing field out. Now, Shuhei does know Kido. In fact, he knows a pretty powerful Hado. I can't remember which one it was. It's the one that creates the energy bars that kind of stick you to a surface. And that could easily stop Ikkaku in his tracks until he maybe puts his Bankai on. The problem for Ikkaku in this fight isn't actually, isn't actually being overpowered. It's being worn down. Because Shuhei's Zanpakuto's ability is actually pretty hatched as long as he's got spiritual pressure to use it with. Because Kazushina's real ability is it can heal any wound, including bifurcation, decapitation, you name it, it can heal it. As long as he's gripping the chain and has spiritual pressure to patch himself up. So eventually, I think what's going to happen is Shuhei's going to wear him down. That's not even going into Shuhei's Bankai, which is really unique and really fitting of his personality, where he basically there's a large ball of chains, a noose wraps around your neck made of chain, and basically you're trapped in this dome with your opponent, and your spiritual pressure is combined into one large mass of spiritual pressure, and basically you guys keep healing and regenerating no matter what damage is done to you, but it keeps eating up the spiritual pressure. The only way out of that is for you both to run out of energy. You both for Shuhei to deactivate the Bankai, or for Shuhei to give into the pain. Now, Ikkaku could definitely take the pain probably better than Shuhei could. The problem is, by the time we get to that point, Ikkaku's probably already worn out to some degree. So it actually wouldn't take long for Shuhei to completely put him down. So ultimately, yeah, Shuhei, I think, does beat Ikkaku. Now, we've been talking this entire time about people that Ikkaku beats. Did Ikkaku beat people who beat Ikkaku? Did Ikkaku beat anyone in this countdown? He beat one person when it was all said and done. He beat Tozen. Why of all the captains, why was Tozen the one to lose to Ikkaku? Here's the thing. If we're looking at Ikkaku at his strongest versus Tozen as a Shinigami, not as a Vizard, at his strongest, we see that Ikkaku probably could withstand the cricket, like the sound knocking out ability. I can't remember the name of that technique exactly. But the ability that basically knocks out your opponent. He more than likely can withstand that ability. Because it's never actually flat out said how strong the ability is. Like, his ability could work on theoretically anyone. Why didn't he use it against Kenpachi from the get? My guess is that it actually works on people that have lower amounts of spiritual pressure than yourself. to a certain degree. So Ikkaku's stubbornness and probably having a high enough spiritual pressure probably saves him in this regard. So then you have to ask, okay, if that's not going to work, in a pure swords battle, who's going to win? Well, we know Tozen is a capable swordsman. He's not weak by any stretch of the means when it comes to his sword play. The problem here is that Ikkaku is still a swordsman by nature and by trade. Therefore, he still has an edge on Tozen in this regard. But Tozen would be able to keep up, and he has Benihiko on his side, which is a very effective technique and something that Ikkaku wouldn't have a regular defense against, unfortunately. But going Bankai to that would probably mitigate that because he could probably block the blades. And while his Bankai really doesn't have any defensive capabilities, I'm certain he wouldn't really be damaged that much by the blades by Benihiko. Maybe they might be sticking out of the sword, but still. So now you get into Bankai versus Bankai, or Shikai, whatever. Tozen using his Bankai. The thing about Tozen using his Bankai in this regard is this. Ikkaku is very similar to Kenpachi in the way that he would beat Tozen. He probably would feel the blade coming, react accordingly, and eventually just one-up Tozen, get stabbed on purpose. Granted, his durability is nowhere near Kenpachi's level, but he can take a blade to the gut and keep going at least once or twice. And then just immediately grab him, and if he's not a Bankai, hold on to him, yell Bankai, and then or stab him through with his Shikai, and then yell Bankai, and then the giant blade just splits him in half. It's because of that adaptive nature of as a combatant and being a subordinate Kenpachi that I actually think Tozen is the one captain that he would, in fact, be able to beat. But with that said, you now get spoiled by the rest of this. Against Toshiro, there's no way in hell that he can beat Hitsugaya. If nothing else, Shikai alone would completely trump anything that Ikkaku throws at him in Bankai. Again, it's arguable. You could say maybe he's a better swordsman, but I doubt it. Hitsugaya just has too much variability with his techniques, too much going on with his abilities in Shikai, and his Bankai alone could just overwhelm Ikkaku in an instant. Obviously, he loses to Kenpachi. It's just he's lost to Kenpachi enough times already in the past. He just can't handle the demon that is Kenpachi. We know this, and he accepts the fact he can't surpass Kenpachi. He knows full well he can't beat him. Mayuri's another guy that he just couldn't beat. Take out any sort of prep time that Mayuri has. His Zanpakuto alone would be a very difficult thing for Ikkaku to do because Ikkaku has no issue getting cut in battle. The problem is you get cut by Mayuri's sword, you get paralyzed. So, yeah, Ikkaku is kind of screwed. And even if he doesn't get hit by the blade, all Mayuri has to do, frankly, is activate his Bankai. The poison activates, and Ikkaku's pretty screwed long term. So, even if he damages his Bankai, Mayuri can just blow it up and start again. So, unfortunately, he loses completely that. To Kisuke over Hara, yeah, he knows he couldn't take Kisuke on. And even in pure swords play, Kisuke is clearly the superior swordsman and hand-to-hand fighter. Benihime, one of my favorite Zanpakutos, by the way, is Benihime. I love its design. It's a very sleek, simplistic design, but its abilities are awesome. Its Bankai is cool. I love Kisuke. He's one of my favorite Bleach characters. But he clearly overwhelms Ikkaku. Nothing else. He could just activate Hado 99 and just incinerate his ass. So yeah, Kisuke completely beat Ikkaku as well. Last but not least, in the list of Captain Class Shinigami that are going to be on this list, Rukia. And yeah, Rukia is another one that would completely overwhelm him. Not because she's a better swordsman. No, Ikkaku is a better swordsman than her. That I have no doubt about. That I will never argue at all about. But the nature of her Shikai, the fact that it reduces her body to absolute zero. So if you're even getting in contact with her, even before she gets absolute zero, you're starting to freeze. And because of the style of fighting she has, or Ikkaku has, he'd be getting close, and that would screw him. That he'd be like, look what happened to Azat. She froze the entire upper layer of his body off. And unfortunately, Ikkaku doesn't have any of the regeneration or actual abilities that Has has. So he would be in a lot of he would have a lot of problems. Even if he managed to survive that, go into Bankai and try to attack her, her Bankai would immediately flash freeze him and kill him in an instant. So unfortunately, Ikkaku lost her as well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first episode of the 20 Strongest Shinigami, Captain Class Shinigami. Now, luckily, as we get into future episodes, they won't all be this long because I won't be including Ikkaku in the following, in the rest of the lists, really. I'll mention him, but I won't bring him up for images or anything like that because I'll take more time. And we just established he lost to everyone except Tozen. So except for Tozen, I probably won't be bringing him up again except in passing. But that is the 20th spot. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Ikkaku is the 20th strongest Captain Class Shinigami, and therefore he's the weakest Captain Class Shinigami whose full abilities we have seen. Until then, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, superhero, magic, whatever, anything new in the channel. Put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. So I'll be back next Sunday with another one of these. It'll be the number 19 spot. Guess in the comments below who got the number 19th ranking. Who's the second weakest? Or the 19th strongest. Pick the term that's more flattering to you. But as always, ideas for who would win, Star Wars, superhero, magic, what if, anything I do in the channel, put it in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to it at some point. Also, don't forget to hit that bell if you want notifications. And yeah, I got a who would win tomorrow, but that's about it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Namaste. See you next time.